Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a story. Not just about a man, but about an unshakable belief that one voice can spark a movement powerful enough to reshape a generation. In 1993, in the quiet town of Arlington Heights, Illinois, a boy named Charlie Kirk was born into an ordinary middle-class American family. There was nothing particularly remarkable about his childhood on the surface. No great wealth, no powerful connections, no elite background. But deep inside, this boy was something that could not be seen. An unstoppable hunger to make a difference. While other kids played sports or video games, Charlie spent hours reading about the Founding Fathers, the Constitution, and the principles that built America. He wasn't the smartest in the class, nor the most popular, but he was curious, endlessly curious. And that curiosity planted a fire in his heart. The fire to protect the values he believed were fading in modern America. In high school, he experienced something powerful. He wrote an essay arguing why free market capitalism and individual freedom mattered more than government control. That essay got published on Breitbart News when he was just 18. It was a small piece, but it changed everything. It showed him that his voice mattered. At an age when most teenagers are worried about fitting in, Charlie Kirk chose to stand out. He had no political family name behind him, no big bank account, and no map to follow. Just a vision that America's youth could rise again if someone gave them a reason to believe. And so, in 2012, at only 18 years old, Charlie founded Turning Point USA from a small office space with barely any funds. He had nothing but a borrowed laptop, relentless energy, and a dream to wake up young minds. He would cold call students, drive his old car across states, and stand outside campuses handing out flyers because most universities didn't want him there. He faced mockery. He faced rejection. He faced closed doors. Professors laughed at him, student groups boycotted him, media outlets dismissed him as just a kid. But Charlie didn't break. He believed that if you are willing to be misunderstood for your mission, the world will eventually understand. He spoke at small events, often to only a handful of students, but he spoke as if the whole world was listening. Because to him, even one student inspired meant the future was still alive. Years passed, and his fire only grew hotter. Slowly, chapters of Turning Point USA began appearing in colleges across the country. Students began wearing its logo proudly. They started organizing rallies, debates, and conferences. What began as one teenager's lonely mission had become a wave. By his mid-20s, Charlie Kirk had become a national figure. Not because someone handed him fame, but because he built it brick by brick out of rejection, criticism, and sleepless nights. He turned Turning Point USA into one of America's largest youth political organizations, with thousands of chapters and millions of young followers. He wrote best-selling books. He launched The Charlie Kirk Show, a podcast that became one of the most listened-to conservative talk shows in the country. He appeared on major news networks, debated seasoned political figures twice his age, and stood firmly even when the spotlight burned hot. And through it all, he never forgot the mission: to wake up young Americans to their power, their responsibility, and their future. Now, let me pause and ask you something. What excuse do you have for not chasing your dream? Charlie had no wealth, no famous parents, no political background, no guarantees. He was a teenager with nothing but passion, and that passion rewrote his destiny. Success doesn't start with money. It starts with belief. It starts with the moment you decide, I will not waste this life. I will stand up, even if I stand alone. Charlie stood alone until others stood with him. And that is how all revolutions begin. One person, one idea, and the courage to act when everyone else stays silent. Today, Charlie Kirk stands as living proof that youth is not a barrier. It's a weapon. If you are young, if you are hungry, if you are willing to sacrifice your comfort for your cause, the world will eventually make room for your voice. He turned his message into a movement, his dream into a destiny. and he is still just getting started. He has inspired millions of young Americans to believe that they can lead, they can rise, and they can build something greater than themselves. And that is the real legacy of Charlie Kirk. Not the fame, not the books, not the stages, but the millions of young people who now dare to lead because he dared first. So, if you are sitting here thinking you are too young, too small, too unprepared to achieve greatness, remember this boy from Illinois who refused to accept smallness. He had no roadmap. He created his own. He had no permission. He gave himself permission. He had no certainty. He built certainty from faith. The world may try to silence you, laugh at you, and doubt you. But if you stay true to your mission, if you keep showing up when it's lonely, if you fight for what you believe even when no one claps, one day, like Charlie Kirk, the same world that ignored you will applaud you. So rise, stand tall, speak your truth, because you never know. The next world-changing movement could be waiting for your voice to begin.